Hello world, today we are swapping my screen time for my reading time. Now, before I show you my reading time, just let me defend myself. Let me defend myself because they were honestly at first I thought it was pretty good and then there was just one day that it was outrageous. Like I didn't understand it and I was like, how did that happen? But I just want to tell you that I was on reading week last week. So that's why my screen time looks like that. Without further ado, let me show you my screen time. On Monday, 4 hours. 4 hours. I feel like that's reasonable, right? Tuesday, 4 hours 25. It's okay, not too much. Wednesday, I get a little bit crazy, 8 hours. It's okay. I mean, I was on a plane on on Wednesday, so maybe that's why I had 8 hours. But then Thursday, I have no idea what I was doing. I literally can't defend it. It's 23 hours and 36 minutes. It means I spent almost the entirety of that day on my on a screen. It says I was basically on high TV for 13 hours and 52 minutes. I have to guess that I fell asleep with my tablet on. If not, it means I watched K-dramas for 13 hours and 52 minutes uninterrupted. On Friday, it gets a little bit better. Not by much. It's 18 hours, 38 minutes. What was I doing? So I'm not sure every book I plan on reading throughout this entire video, but because of the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, It Ends With Us drama, I started reading Colleen Hoover's Cursed Little Book, It Ends With Us, over the weekend. So I think it'd be fitting to just finish that off. I'm about 64% done. Okay, let's start reading. So after 2 hours 20 minutes, I have finished It Ends With Us. I have paused the timer a couple times to eat and then to crash out because if you've read It Ends With Us, you know that the second half of this book is one of the hardest things to read. Because again, I was not expecting this book. This book doesn't have any trigger warnings, right? So you don't know what the content is gonna be when you read it the first time around, so you really just get shocked when the genre changes. So reading the second time, I had a chance to take a more analytical lens to the first half of the book where I thought it was going to be a rom-com, and there is a lot of parallels Colleen Hoover draws between Ryle and Lily's dad that I didn't pick up on the first time. For example, basically the first time we see Ryle, he's really angry and he's kicking lawn chairs, really taking out all his rage on those chairs and, showing that he has a little bit of a temper, but he's not hitting anybody. So, I'm not thinking, oh, that's a red flag, right? And then Lily just thinks to herself, I once saw my dad do something similar to a patio table. And I was like, oh, why are you drawing your similarities between the love interest of a rom-com and an abusive father? But there's so many other parallels that Colleen Hoover uses to hint at the reader, almost foreshadow that Ryle is another version of Lily's dad. He's another abusive man. Okay, so let's start our second book, Margot's Got Money Problems. So I have to do about another 4 hours of reading today. So I'm going to school early because I actually have to write a paper that's due tomorrow and I haven't started. And I'm gonna get an hour and a half of reading in before class. I finished Margot Can Read. It's been 4 hours 23 minutes. I'm 2 minutes shy of the 4 hours 25 minutes, but you know, we'll let it go. I didn't realize that like I can't sit still for an hour stretch at a time. Like I go get a snack, I go to the washroom, I get up to walk around. So I paused the timer a lot. I didn't realize it's super hard for me to sit still for so long. But talking about Margot's Got Money Problems, I really like the book. It has the vibe of Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. And I always love a female main character that's just completely out of the left field. You know what I mean? Like someone that's just not completely fine, someone that's got troubles. And Margot was that. She really ate it up. But there's something in this book that's been irking me, and it was the romance. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but let me just say, I am the biggest hater of the romance in this book. Like every other part of this book, I loved it, ate it up with a spoon. But the romance. But what's blowing my mind is how my screen time is this high. Cause like, if you guys are comfortable sharing, what's your screen time? Because how am I pulling these numbers? Like, how am I spending 8 hours on my screen? I don't know. But tomorrow we will spend 8 hours reading. Wish me luck. I was only able to read 3.5 hours. I know, boo. My day got much busier than I expected. But here's one thing that did go really well. I tried audiobooks. They are game changers. Like I love hearing a story. I love talking to people about the story, but I don't love the action of sitting down to read. Like I get super antsy. I want to get up, I want to walk around. But you can do that with an audiobook. My first audiobook that I read today, and I actually finished it, it was The Curious Case of Benjamin Button by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and I love this book. It's like a solid 5 stars. I feel like I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much if I read it, just because it's not a plot-based book. It's very heavily based on just the character and you just hearing about like the little things that happen in his day-to-day life. I don't know, like I don't know if it's meant to be a comedy, but I remember just listening to it and I was like laughing out loud as I was crossing the street. Absolute banger. Then today's Thursday already and I'm supposed to read for 23 hours and 35 minutes. I have no idea if I'm gonna be doing this is basically like a 24-hour challenge. I don't know if I have that in me or not. But for now, let's start. Can you guess if I stayed up for 24 hours? Absolutely not. I put up the weakest defense before sleep overtook me. I started listening to, I can't remember the name of the book, and it was good. Like I wanted something fresh, something that like didn't read like a regular rom-com, and this was like that, mainly just because it was based in like China. So a lot of their cultural like references were new to me. So I think that was part of why it felt fresh. And it was funny. I was enjoying the book and then I fell asleep and I was like, oh damn. But even though I technically only read for an hour and a half, I'm 2.5 hours into the book. So I have a bunch of errands to run today, so I'm gonna do that. That's why I'm outside right now. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna listen to the book while I run my errands. Okay, so I finished, what's the book even called? I can't remember. I finished Women of Good Fortune, and like I was saying, it's an interesting read because it's just nothing like I've ever read before, like a heist that's also a romance set in China. Like to me, it's a foreign concept, so like that part of it was really interesting. And then I could not guess what the ending would be for the life of me, so I like it was keeping me hooked for that. And then Vic gave me the ick. Ever since they told the story of how there was a group presentation and he sent his work in 30 minutes before the due date, back to send that, God forbid. If you send me your work 30 minutes before the time, I've already submitted. Like, I've done the entire part. I hate you. So I was like, Vic, no. Ick. The thing is, I enjoyed the book, but I couldn't figure out whether or not like the author intended for me to be pissed at the female characters, because I thought they were all psychopaths. But then I realized, honestly, it doesn't matter what the author intended, as long as like I read it and I enjoyed it, I can have whatever opinion about it. So even if I was supposed to root for the girls, they were pissing me off. I want to read another book because like I just, like when you're on a roll and you're like, let's go, let's keep going. But I don't want it to be modern. I really enjoyed The Curious Case of Benjamin Button by F. Scott Fitzgerald, so I want something else of that vibe. I knew I wanted to read another classic novel, so I literally just went on Apple Books, looked up a free audiobook, and then picked one that looked like a classic novel. Okay, so it is 12 a.m. Today I only read for 9.5 hours. I finished the first book I was reading, which was Women of Good Fortune, and I already talked about that, so I won't reharp. And then I read The Boxcar Children. I think it's supposed to be like a cute little book about if poverty didn't actually have catastrophic like impacts on people's lives, how fun it would be to just live as you and your siblings, living off the land, going foraging for berries and stuff. Like, it would be a cute life if you put on like, if you have a little suspension of disbelief. Hello world, this is Future Eniola editing. I did not read on Friday because I was at a conference, but no excuses. I am aware that I basically failed this challenge, but I had so much fun reading, I couldn't scrap the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. You can boo me, it's okay. I should probably retry the challenge. But yeah, I hope you had fun watching. I had fun making the video. Bye.